Swear to me. Swear to me! That was my Batman impression. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Super Jump Reviews. I'm Andrew, and today we'll be talking about Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate for the PS Vita. First off, I just want to say that I will be scoring my games a little differently from now on. Now, instead of one final score at the very end, I will be giving each category its own score. I think this will give people a better understanding of how I feel about one particular aspect of a game. So with that being said, let's get to it. The first time I saw the graphics, I wasn't sure what to think. It looked good, but I wasn't really impressed. It's kind of like that feeling you get when you know something just meets the bare requirement, but deep down inside you know it could have looked a hell of a lot better. The character detail are similar to the console versions, but look like they've been scaled back significantly for the portable handheld. Environments look good with some nice lighting thrown in, but more often than not, you'll find the levels look a little too similar to one another. You probably know this by now that the game is presented in a 2.5D perspective. I'll admit, it looks pretty cool and does give the game a unique look, but that's the problem. It only looks cool when you're moving forward through the game. It's not very fun when you have to backtrack through a 2.5D level while using a map that's designed for a 3D game. It also doesn't help that the camera is zoomed all the way back either. You look less like Batman and more like a rat trapped in a maze. This is where things get needlessly complicated, but we'll talk about that later. My favorite part about the graphics are actually the comic book inspired cutscenes. This is where I thought the game had the most promise and potential. Believe it or not, I felt more like Batman while watching the cutscenes than I did when playing the actual game. They are well directed, well casted, and have some very cool looking animations that help give the static images life. One minor complaint is that the cutscenes did look a little soft in some spots. Some of the scenes I thought could have looked a little bit sharper. There isn't really anything that I hate about the graphics. The game looks good, just not great, and definitely not something you'd expect coming from the PlayStation Vita.
I don't know who you're supposed to be, but in case you didn't notice, this building's business hours are over.
Oh, I noticed. And my business never sleeps. I'm nocturnal. Tell me you're not this place's overdressed security guard.
I just go where the crime is.
You sure you want to cut this so short? You haven't even heard me purr yet.
You won't be purring once you're in Blackgate.
When it comes to audio, the game comes pretty close to the console versions. I have no complaints here. This sounds like a Batman game. Environmental music provides that perfect Batman atmosphere. It's dark, creepy, and epic when it needs to be. The voiceovers are even better. New actors have been casted to voice Batman and the Joker, and they sound just as good, if not even better than the original, in my opinion. The voice work is a real treat for the ears, so remember to play with headphones on. It looks like all the moves have been ported over from the console version, which is pretty impressive when you think about it. They're all easy to execute, but the problem is that the moves given to you are a little too ambitious for the game it's built around. What's the point of having all these cool abilities if all you can do is move from left to right? I think the reason why the moves look so cool on the consoles is because the game was in full 3D. Seeing Batman in action with the same moveset in a 2D game just doesn't feel or look quite as impressive as it once did. Tapping the touchscreen brings up detective mode, and dragging your finger across the screen helps you to analyze your surroundings even more. This is necessary if you want to solve the puzzles and find hidden locations in the game. I don't have a problem with this feature, but I wish there was a more intuitive way to go about doing it. Having to constantly stop and touch the screen to analyze objects slows down the game and really breaks the rhythm. It makes the whole detective aspect of the game a chore and not very fun in my opinion. There is also a gimped version of the encryption puzzle door hack thing thrown in there as well, but this time it's not as cool or as fun as it once was. The words that come to mind when describing this game is needlessly complicated. The game starts off pretty promising. You're required to chase down Catwoman. Along the way, you encounter enemies who you fight using moves similar to what you would expect from the console versions of Batman. It's all there. The punching, the kicking, even the gliding and leaping from statue to statue. This game absolutely looks like a Batman game. But the thing is, it feels nothing like a Batman game. The main problem with Blackgate is that it tries to be something it's not. It gives you the illusion of a 3D game with all the moves and gadgets you would expect from the console version, when in fact it's actually a much slower, clumsier, and dare I say boring 2.5D version of Batman. The combat is fairly easy in Blackgate. Attacking and countering are simple to perform. The problem is that the fights take place on multiple planes, a foreground and a background. You have no control over which plane you're fighting on, so when you attack, you simply hit the enemy that's closest to you. This isn't really an issue when you're fighting against common enemies, but when different enemy types surround you that require dodging and stunning with your cape, there's very little room for strategy, as your movement is very limited. Although the combat does indeed look similar to its console counterpart, the switch to 2D has somehow made it stale and repetitive. The boss battles are a pain when you first encounter them. They're complete trial and error, but for some strange reason feel very satisfying when you figure out their weakness. All this I could forgive if it wasn't for one aspect of the game. The map. This map is in one word, worthless. It fails to indicate what floor you're on. You could be on a different floor in the same building, but appear in the same place on the map. You see, the problem with the map is that it was designed for a 3D game where you move in a 3D environment. Blackgate is not a 3D game. The map is so convoluted that it makes backtracking such a chore, which brings me to my other complaint. There is too much backtracking. Whenever I feel like I'm progressing through the game or enter into a new area, I find that I'm missing a certain gadget that allows me to move any further and have to backtrack to a totally different location to retrieve it. It didn't bother me at first, but I found that it happens way too often. There is backtracking in other games, but the thing is, those games have a competent map that helps me get to where I'm going. The map in Blackgate simply does not work. Good luck trying to figure out where you are after getting off an elevator. Everything runs smoothly, but I did notice one time when the game froze up on me when I was trying to open a door. This game would have been a lot better if there was no backtracking and you simply went from point A to point B. Because I'll admit, some aspects are very cool, like shooting an explosive gel at a wall and having it detonate and take out a guard standing on the other side. I also like the moments where you would take out an enemy using stealth takedowns. Those were fun. It's not a terrible game by any means, and there is some fun to be had if you had the patience, and I mean a lot of patience, to put up with all the backtracking. But I just can't recommend this game to the casual or even average gamer. If you absolutely must have Batman on the go, then Batman Origins Blackgate on the Vita will do. But for everyone else, stick to the consoles to get the true Dark Knight experience. Alright guys, there you have it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you manage to pick up the game, let me know what you think. And I'll see you next week. See ya.